Okay, it's 1 o'clock, so we're gonna get started. Thank you to everyone for being here. I see some new faces that haven't been at these sort of presentations before, and some familiar faces as well. So this is Carolina's senior exit report for the Top Scholar Program. What we ask students to do is really look across the entire time they've been here at UTSA and also across all of the various areas that they work in. So whether it be in the classroom or out of the classroom, volunteering or research, whatever the case may be, we ask them to kind of take all of that and provide us with a look at what the world has been over the last 4 years. So Pato will have about 20-25 minutes. I'll be your timekeeper, and then we'll we'll kind of open the floor to questions or comments, and the faculty and staff in the room, we ask that you allow them to speak first, and then the rest of the students can move to offer their comments to Paul. So I was going to tell us about our time here at UTSA now.
Thank you everyone for being here in person and Zoom. Hello. Yeah, I'm talking about my last 4 years here at UTSA Top Scholars. So first I'm gonna no, it's over there.
It's actually housed over here.
Yes. So I'm gonna be going over who am I when I first came to UTSA, because I'm a completely different person, and for those of you that didn't know me before then, my 4 years of college and a big focus on knowledge, leadership, and service, which are the 3 pillars of Top Scholars. My study abroad, how did I have fun, taking lessons, my future plans, and acknowledgements. So yeah. Okay. No. So who was I when I first came here? I graduated in a class of 36 people. I'm used to saying girls and boys because we were divided, girls and boys, from a private Catholic school in Nuevo Laredo, Mexico. So I did learn English since I was 6, so I was very privileged to do so, but it was a completely different English. I learned it in class. I never learned it outside. I always say that I went to Chick-fil-A across the border and I ordered in Spanish because we all speak Spanish in the border. So yeah, I was involved in a lot of things. I was a Catholic group leader. I was a dancer for 13 years. And all of this to say that when I came here to UTSA and I felt like I couldn't express myself in English, I felt like I was a completely different person in English. I felt like I was grieving someone that I couldn't exist in English. So I was even looking into universities when I first came here in Mexico to transfer back. Like I was like, I cannot do this anymore. I was a biochem major. I was pre-med track because that's all I knew. I was adapting to the American system because, of course, education is different in both countries. In Mexico, it's completely different in language, as I was saying. Most of the casual language I have, casual vocab, is thanks to my friends when they give me space to talk. And sometimes I was talking in mid-sentence, I would stop. I was like, never mind. They were like, no, keep going. Or like my bilingual friends, they were like, I think you meant this. And they were like, try to redirect me. And because of them, they gave me the confidence to speak in English as I do right now. So it's been an exponential change, and yeah, I just been getting better in English, so that's been good. Also COVID, in Mexico we didn't have vaccines when I first came here, so everything was still in lockdown. We were wearing masks, and here it was in person and no masks, so it was completely different. So a lot of changes at the same time when I first came here. So my freshman year, that was me freshman year. That was the only picture I liked my freshman year. The picture awful. So what I was.
We'll handle that.
Okay,
That happens.
good. Thank you. So my first year, I was thinking, where am I going? What am I doing here? I had no idea what I wanted to do. I thought I did, but I absolutely had no idea. So the first pillar being knowledge. I came to UTSA, and the first few days I mentioned research. So they were like, I did research and then research this, research this. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna join. So I was looking into the website. I was looking into Rising Researchers Program with Dr. Taylor. Yeah. And I went into the neuro page. It was a neuro page because neuro didn't exist back then. And I saw Dr. Burgo's lab. So I reached out and I joined his lab ever since. And I would record myself cutting brains and slicing brains because my family didn't understand what I was doing. They were like, are you actually slicing my brain? I was like, yes, that is legal. I can do that. So I would just like show them little tutorials of what I was doing. And being completely honest, I had no idea what I was doing. I had never taken a neuro class, and I was just slicing brains and just putting it in the slices and taking pictures. That's all I knew. So this is my group, and it was a very good group because my PI and Ada, the lab coordinator, his wife, they were Puerto Rican. So it was an open space for me to express myself in Spanish and learn a completely different thing, but in Spanish. So my questions were in Spanish, and it was very freeing. So we had little hangouts, SeaWorld, Viva Science. That was very fun. And also Gen Chem 1, it was a big learning curve for me because I thought I knew what I was doing, and then I went to Gen Chem 1 and I had no foundation at all. So I would spend all of my free time doing Gen Chem and trying to figure it out. Heather and I were always in tutoring sessions. It was bad, but it was also very fun. So ever since then, Catherine became my lab partner. That's where we actually started bonding. And this is us trying to figure out an experiment. I don't know which one, but yeah, I also recorded a video for the final exam, but I think Gen Chem 1 really set my foundation for what I wanted to do and how I wanted to study and how I wanted to go over college and classes. You cannot see it also, but I applied to 4 RUs and I didn't get into any. I was applying to biochem programs, and I think they realized I didn't know what I was talking about, or I didn't know what I wanted to do. Thank God I didn't go to a biochem program. I would have tried every single day. But yeah, I went home that summer and I just had fun, and yeah. So for leadership, I was not very involved in leadership, not exactly like I said, nor not yet. But I went to leadership, and that was a very fun program. It was supposed to be, I think, like a week long or 10 days, but someone got COVID like the second day, and we had to come back. It was so fun. Like, we were actually talking about things we wanted to do and like things that I liked. I talked to other people and networking. So I think this is where I learned how to like set my ideas and put them into something more doable than just like in my mind. And I also, we had so much fun. We were just playing tennis and going to the pool, and honestly, like everything else, yeah, that's cool. But that was the fun part. And this was after there was someone got a positive test for COVID, and then someone else took a test, and we left the retreat. But yeah. For service and community involvement, I was doing a lot of different things. I was trying to see if I like voices because that's the biggest org on campus service-wise. And I didn't know if I liked it or not, but I knew I wanted to do something with my life regarding service. So I was doing that. I also went to the zoo with the top scholars and Terry scholars. We also had a lot of community events. And I included that picture because I was a freshman, and it was very funny to go to the events and all being like upperclassmen, people I didn't know. So that was very funny. And I was also doing a Dota Spot and cohort projects my freshman year and every year. But my biggest service event on my freshman year was alternative break. And it was a very, very big moment for me. We went to Dallas, Texas over spring break for a week. I went with Catherine, Hichu, and Layla and some other people, and we went to the AIDS services of Dallas. I learned about AIDS, homelessness, about history, and it was very impactful to be talking to people that were actually going through it, that went through it, how they burned this down a few years ago. So we were helping reconstruct the garden, the outdoor areas, and that was very nice to connect with other people. Then we went to City Square Food Pantry. We volunteered, but I think this was a turning point for me because we were going over holistic recovery, because there were people going through poverty or addiction or both. And it didn't only give them the resources, like, hey, here's the money, here's the food, that's it. They were giving them like a plan, like getting back to society, and then survive being sober. If they have kids, have to being with your kids and also being like in society and working and balance. So that's when I started being interested in like a holistic recovery of the human being, not only like this is it, or just like science, or just like humanities, just everything together. So this was us in the food pantry. It was us at the AIDS services of Dallas. Catherine and I, when they give us a hat and a sticker, and us just getting dinner. But yeah. Then my sophomore year, that was my picture of my sophomore year. And this year I realized what I want to do, what I like to do. So I was going after it, but I was acting too much towards my goals. Like I put too much on my plate, and yes, I can handle everything, but not everything at the same time. So that was a lot for me. It was a learning curve for sure. And this summer I went to Costa Rica, but I'm gonna talk about it later. So for knowledge, I was still in Dr. Virgo's lab, and I knew now what they were talking about because I was taking intro to neurobiology. So I got like, oh, the hippocampus, the memory, and everything made sense. So I felt like it made my academics stronger, but also my lab knowledge stronger. I was also leading journal clubs. I didn't talk about that, but my first journal club, I cried so much while I was getting ready, and when I presented, I probably did awful because I took so long to read one article, it was probably like 4 pages. And yeah, I've been learning a lot in that lab. So I was still slicing brains in Church of Histology, we were looking at the hippocampus. And this is my lab group. As I was saying, I also had my major classes. We had neurobio lab, which was very interesting because some of the things didn't work. The equipment was very old, so we were supposed to learn a lot, but it was nice to be like with the crawfish, seeing action potentials, basic electrophysiology. It was very fun. I was also with the brains and at the night. And then we were also taking OChem. I didn't need OChem for my major. I was minoring in chemistry, but I had to drop it because it was very low maturity list. But OChem, I really enjoyed OChem because I realized how much I like that type of like reasoning. Like I like just logical reasoning, such as learning something and then applying it, but not such as like, I don't know, just learning something straight and directly just filling it out in the blank. It was just a different type of learning, and I really, really enjoyed it, but I had to drop my major, which was sad. I also joined UTSM, my Nurse Scholars program, which I'm going to talk more about, but it was such a great program. I joined during sophomore year, but I actually started being active during junior year. And I also applied to REU, second time's a charm. I also applied to 4 this year again. And I heard back from the University of Michigan, I think it was February, so I was very excited to go to UMich for 10 weeks to learn about sleep, the hippocampus, memory, and all that. So I'm gonna talk about that later. Oh, I also took 21 credit hours. That was the worst mistake I've ever made. Why did I do that? That was my fall semester. I was taking 21 credit hours and I had a leadership position in 2 different orgs. Don't ever do that. Like, there's no need for me to. No, absolutely not. But yeah. Leadership, what I'm talking about. So I was a member of period before, but I was a treasurer in the fall and then president in the spring. And in the fall, the president was someone that had been there for years. So she knew what she was doing and we were just following instructions and it was very fun. And then I was like, hey, I think I can be the president. Not that I look back as a sophomore, I don't know how equipped I was to be the president, but I was. So I but a little backstory. I gave sexual education classes in high school. My topic was abortion techniques, but we went over teen pregnancies, about just unwanted pregnancies, STI, and I realized how big of a taboo it was. Like, I remember when I was 12 and I was buying pads and I was thinking like, I know my mom buys these for me. They're 78 pesos, which they were like $4 at the time. But I know some people don't have a mom, or like some people don't have money. So they were just like innocent thoughts when I was younger. And then when I was in high school and I gave sex education class, the pregnancy rate in that high school went down like 60%. And I was like, okay, so there's not enough information and it's a taboo. So just, it didn't click right for me. And then something so natural as the menstrual cycle that is still a taboo and there's a lot of peer poverty. So here on campus, I had the opportunity to act on it. So as a president, I knew how much this org had a lot of potential. So I wanted more outreach, collaborating with more organizations, and yeah. We also did fundraisers. We collaborated with SGA. We had a bigger officer board. So it was very good. But I learned a lot about time management. My whole free time was period. When I was eating, it was period. When I was sleeping and dreaming about period. So I realized like I shouldn't be taking, first of all, 21 credit hours and doing this, but also I can set a time and be productive during that time and also have time for myself. Because if I have time for myself, then everything else will fall accordingly. But it was a big learning curve as well. For service and community involvement, I was a TSSO director of service, and that was a very, very good experience. I remember when the board first got together during the spring before coming into the year. Jesse, who was the president, he said he wanted to go to Best Fest and participate in Best Fest again. So we participated in Best Fest, and that was very fun. We had a lot of money, which we donated to the Ronald McDonald House. And then we also ran 2 donation drives with the Honors College, and we got so many donations for the Ronald McDonald House, and that was such a good time. And we also had service events. So there I also learned about what goes behind the scenes of just an organ. You just show up and do whatever they have. So made me have more appreciation for what an org is and just organizing things. So, yeah. I also did some other things. I was playing piano at church on Sundays and the 1 p.m. mass was Spanish. Did a couple of spot and cohort projects per usual. I was volunteering. Last time I think Edith and I went to the zoo for something about the monarchs. I can't even remember. Like I'm telling you, I'm just doing everything. And then there was Big T, Edith, me, and then Zanetta was also there. We did Be the Match at ACL. So we were volunteering, then we watched Pink. So very fun. Junior year, I don't know, I had shock because I was watching Taylor Swift and then I went abroad. But this was me abroad. So this year, I'm not talking about only my spring semester because during the fall I was in Italy. So in junior year, I knew I wanted to go to grad school, but I knew I was missing a lot of things. I remember seeing Marissa's CV, if you know Marissa, she's a year older than us. And I was like, okay, she has presentation, I have none. I remember her hearing something about a grader or a TA. I was like, okay, I have to do that. So other things that I have to do. So I came back and I was like, I know what to do and I'm gonna do it. So it was more about what am I missing? For knowledge, I went to neuro at the University of Michigan. That was such a good time. I had 3 different mentors. There was a postdoc, a 3rd year, and a 1st year student. This is my PI. And this was the first time I ever had an independent project for myself completely. I remember the postdoc was teaching me something and I couldn't understand the gist of it. I was like, I just don't get it. There was so many factors. And then we were going over it. He helped me design the whole project and he was like, okay, let's go tomorrow. So I went in tomorrow, like the next day, I was projecting C21, which, yeah, C21. And then he was like, are you ready? I was like, well, yeah, I mean, just injecting these animals. And then the next day, depending on the memory. But then I didn't realize I was doing the whole thing alone. So he just showed me on Monday and I was doing it alone for the next 8 weeks. So I showed up the next day and I was still depriving the animals alone. And I was also running experiments alone and cleaning the cages alone. So I was like, wow, this is a lot. But I understand now that the articles make sense, what I was learning makes sense. So I was just so excited. And I realized I really wanted to go to grad school after this because I saw their life and I saw that they had something else going on. Like they were running triathlons. She had a band, like in Ann Arbor, Michigan. Like, why? But they had external interests and they were humans. They were not just like grad students and that's it. So I love UMich for that and I love grad school for that. So I knew I wanted to go to grad school. This is Me with the Animals. That day we had our conference and I remember I was crying. I didn't want to go handle the animals, but I had to. So I went in and I was like, okay, take a picture for my family. So yeah, it was 24 of us. We were very, very tight. We were so close that a guy from there and me are still dating. So yeah. Yeah. So besides that, I was in Dr. Burgle's shop, as most of you know. We published the first article. I was 3rd author for that, and that was very exciting to see. Like the work I have put in the last 2 years, it was finally like something. So it was very exciting to be part of a research article. And I was doing the same thing. I was doing histology and yeah. For leadership, with the help of McNair and UTSA, I presented my research for about, I think it was like 9 times. I went to a few conferences. I was out that whole semester because I knew I wanted to do something. And when I knew I wanted to go to conferences, I didn't realize how much it would be to go to a conference every single weekend. But it was good. I mean, I love my CV and I learned a lot. I also went to Viva Science, which is more of like a bigger crowd and more general. So I had my research and some families heard that I spoke Spanish. So they wanted me to talk about my research, simplified version and in Spanish. So like, okay. And I tried and I connected with a lot of families. So it was like 2 families. They had a little kid and everything. And it was very nice to talk about my research to other people that actually understood, to PIs, people that did the same thing as I did. So it was very exciting. And I started shadowing. I was in the airport once on my way to Dallas, I think. And I saw someone with a backpack that said Neuropsychological Institute of San Antonio. And I just needed that. I needed not clinical hours, but I needed something more with humans. I knew I wanted to go to grad school, but I knew I didn't want to work with mice anymore. And I didn't have any experience with humans. So I saw them at the airport and I looked them up on Google and I reached out. So I started to shadow under neuropsychologists, yeah. And we were testing, batteries and just to see how people were doing mentally, and it was either for board cases or just in general. And I realized, although I really like neuropsychologists, I don't want to be one. Like, that's not for me. So I didn't want to do clinical psychology, but I really enjoyed my time there, and it really helped me realize I do want to learn about humans, and I was putting everything I learned in class into this. So that was nice. I was also a grader to Dr. Perry for interneuro for 2 sections. I had reached out to another professor that I had taken a class with, but he didn't have, like, he wasn't available. So they redirected me to Dr. Perry, and he was panicking, so I was panicking. We were both panicking. He had 2 sections. He was like, I know nothing, so here's Canvas. Oh, like, I've never used Canvas like this before. So it was very exciting to work with him because it was a very like casual environment with him. If I had something on my mind, I could just email him at midnight and he would respond back. Like, it was just casual. I would text a whole paragraph and he was like, okay. From my phone. So it was very nice to get to know him. I really think it was God because we really connected, Dr. Perry and I, and he's a very, very good professor and a good person. So I learned a lot from Dr. Perry and from being a reader and a grader. Service and community involvement. This semester, I was the co-president for period. This semester, the org had grown a lot. When I was away, Sydney was the president, and then when I came back, we were both co-presidents, and we are very different in how we view things and where we wanted to take the org, but we were both focused on different things that helped us so much. So for the first time, we did Dia en la Sombrilla, and we were selling hot dogs. We knew we wanted to do hot dogs, was the only option, but we didn't know how to use a grill, and we didn't realize until we had 3 girls and there was 5 girls and none of us know what to do. And we had another org next to us was all guys. They were like, need help. We were like, no, we're fine, thank you. Like, we got it. So we're all just in pink, a little skirts. It was very fun though. We raised a lot of money. We had lines, we had orders. The hot dogs were delicious too. It was a great event. And then we also had a panel with the first officers from the org and with our advisor, and that was very insightful. We collaborated with, I think, 6 on campus, 5 orgs on campus. We were tabling, and I also got really close to Sydney. And yeah, it was such a good experience. I'm always taking care with me in my heart, and although I do miss it, I think I had to step back from my senior year because I was focusing on some other things. But yes, such a good organization. Senior year, now that's me. I'm wearing that outfit. So I had to step back, and I grew a lot my senior year because I realized some things that were not working for me and some things that I had to keep doing and some things that I had to do. So for knowledge, it was a lot. Oh, first of all, the summer, I was with McNair. It was such a good time. It was a 10-week research institute, and we had 2 classes a week. So we were meeting with Dr. Olivo and with the rest of the people, and we were just working towards our paper. We were doing our research, but we connected so much. Like, the people in the program are incredible people. They're smart individuals, and without this program, I don't think I would have gone where I am right now. So I'm incredibly grateful for the McNair Scholars. I continue to work in Dr. Burgo's lab, and this semester I was struggling a lot. I mean, over the summer, because I was taking the classes, I was in lab, and I was also doing the SRI, and I think I was probably just burnt out, and we didn't have any results. So we were just trying to work on the microscope. That was my only task, and the microscope was not working. So I was like, I think research is not for me. I would walk home crying. Like, one time I went home and I saw Saneda and I was just crying. I was like, oh my God, just go to your room. It was bad. And that summer really put into perspective like how big of a challenge applying to grad school was gonna be. I thought I was not even gonna apply to grad school, honestly. But I ended up applying, and it was I'm gonna talk about it right now. But yeah, it was a very, very good time. So for knowledge, I was in Dr. Burgo's lab again, and I was in lab every day because we were running a lot of experiments at the same time. A lot, for no reason. I mean, yes reason, but but yes, it was a lot. So these are the 2 grad students. Steph is here and Kelly. I learned so much from them because Kelly at the beginning and fall semester gave me the she trusted me, so I was teaching other undergrads and grad students to do histology, to take pictures, so like the maze, just everything. So I learned a lot from them and Dr. Virgo's lab, and even right now we're running similar set of experiments. So I'm really enjoying my time there. Just knowing that I know what I do is crazy because I thought I would never understand what I was doing. And for me now, like behavioral stuff, I'm just so used to it because for me it's easy, but then I look back and I'm like, no, it's not easy. So it's like a big self, it's a big compliment for me. And yeah, application season. On April, I remember I started looking into grad schools because that's what they tell you to do. So I was looking into grad schools that I knew that I wanted to apply, or like the bigger names. And I remember looking into the faculty and I didn't like anyone. Like I didn't like anyone, but because I didn't know what I want to do. So the summer came in and it was even worse. I didn't know if I wanted to do grad school. I didn't like any of the research, or I even want to do humans. Like it was bad. But then September came in and I think I was like, okay, I think I want to apply to grad school. I'm burnt out. I don't know what to do. This is a big challenge for me. So I'm just gonna stick to 4 programs that I know that I like, the faculty. And that was good. So this is my board. And I had different numbers because I had to cut different, like I had to cut 5 reins and then 4 reins and then 5 reins, but I also have to do like a research paper and the personal statement. So I had to, my days were like counted on fall semester, which really helped me to put in the work. I was also, oh my god, I'm so bad with name, sorry. But she was helping me a lot with my essay, so we're meeting weekly because I met with her and I started crying again. I was just like, I don't know if I want to do this. I don't think I'm cut for this. This is so big for me. Like, don't even look like me, don't even sound like me. And she was like, no, just stick to it and apply. So I did. And yeah, I was also taking CSH Italian. I included this because I was CSH Italian and I didn't know we were intertwined with intermediate Italian. So I was in class and we were going over CSH Italian, previous study abroad, and like how to go to the restroom and order food. I'm like, I just did this. Like I just came back from that. So the TA came and I was asking her questions, and the professor said, hey, I see you know Italian. I don't know, I just like know a little bit. Do you want to be in intermediate Italian? And I said, yes, but I need the credit for CSH. But I want to do the work for intermediate. And at the time, it sounded like a great idea. But then every time I spoke, she would yell at me like, no, Italian. So, and I would speak Italian. She was like, your Italian sounds like your Spanish. I'm like, well, every language does. She was like, well, it will be better. But I was better. So I was doing Pasaparola, which is like doing the work and the audios and then answering questions. And at the end, we presented this picture, this paint. And I described it in Italian. We went to the museum and I described it in Italian. Don't ask me to do that right now because I don't remember. But I did at a time, and that was fun. And I was in theoretical innovation. I took this class with Dr. Gardner. We read 3 books, and first of all, that got me out of my reading slump, which was incredible. And also, we were doing our own research paper, and I wanted to do something that I was interested in, but also that was going to be helpful for my application. So I was looking into intervention techniques, and doing this research article, I realized I wanted to do intervention techniques for grad school. So while I was doing this, I was also looking into faculty, and I think all of this came together. And I even included the research paper I did for this class into my application, which I think I made it stronger because I didn't have any clinical experience, as I said. Yeah. And for leadership, I was a mentor with Café con Becas. Café con Becas, I don't think I've ever mentioned this, but he helped me to get into college because in Mexico, we don't have like an advisor. So he helps first generation students that want to go to the US. And he helped me. So now I'm mentoring high school students that want to go into the US that are first gen students. And over the winter break, there was a panel. So I went to the panel with students and with parents, and we talked about our experiences. And it was such a good panel. I just reconnected with my mentor and I'm so in touch with him. It was very good. I also went to deepen in STEM at UPenn. It was just like showing the university around for minority students that are interested in grad school. I went with Zanetto. She had been there already, so she knew the spots, and it was a good time. We were there for like 3 days only, but I got to see UPenn, which I never thought I would. I remember I learned about Ivy Leagues when I was watching Gossip Girl when I was 13. So I went to an Ivy League now, and that was like a full circle moment for me. And then
How do we time to?
okay. Wait, what time is it?
It's 1:30.
Oh, okay, yeah, when was it?
Yeah.
And then service, I was a mentor for Research Girl, which is a nonprofit organization, and I just went online. I started dancing folklorico, and I had never done folklorico before. I was a dancer growing up for folklorico, and I really enjoyed dancing. So I still do this. We have a presentation on Friday, and it was very fun. And of course, the local spot and my senior legacy project. So my 2 study abroads, I'm gonna go over these quick. I went to Costa Rica for 10 days over the summer of 2022, and we learned about sustainable living. I think it really changed my life in terms of I knew that I wanted to eat cleaner, and I knew that I wanted to go into yoga again and live sustainably. So I really enjoyed it. And I went with Edith, Marissa, and some military scholars and my group. And then in Urbino, I had the 2 greatest professors. Dr. Garner is here. I also learned another language. My 5th language was Italian. And we went to about 15 different cities, and we ate great food. It was Urbino, and I saw things that I only saw in pictures of in person. So that was great. And my travel partner, thank you for eating with me every 3 hours. How did I have fun? I didn't, just kidding. But I started reading again. I have read like 10 books this year because that's what I like to do in my free time. I watch Love and Sign in every language that I know. I do audiobooks and podcasts when I'm cooking. I'm either thinking of food, like what to make, I'm either eating or cooking. I started working out and dancing and traveling. I went to Mexico City, to Cancun, to Las Vegas, to Dallas very often. So yeah, that's a very nice hobby to have too. And my biggest lessons, so this is my last slide. First of all, is what you don't change, you choose. So I was in meds for about 2.5 years of my life, and they were just increasing the doses. And I went to Costa Rica, and I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. Like, I don't remember how I felt without my meds. And I remember that I used to feel, but I didn't remember how much I felt. So I went to my psychiatrist, and I was like, I know you're increasing my doses, but I don't want to do this anymore. I know what to do, so let's just please start decreasing my doses. And he said, fine, I can do about it. So I was diagnosed with OCD, but I used it to my advantage. I have a very strict routine and habits, and I was able to like feel very happy again, and very sad again, and very excited again. And it was all thanks to choosing to do that, because I was just complaining that I couldn't do anything about it, but I could. And this was my biggest lesson of like, I think my 4 years, that I could do that, and I'm still working on that. My second lesson was time will pass anyways. I remember talking to a doctor, and he was like, well, 10 years are gonna pass. You're either gonna be a doctor or not. And that's right. So that's why I think I'm choosing, that's why I'm choosing my career path. And also life is too short. Over the last 2 years, 3 family members passed away. It was first my aunt 2 years ago, and then my grandma a year ago, and then my uncle this March. So I was closer to each one of them when they passed away. So I just realized like that I've been prioritizing the wrong things. I started enjoying little things and then go the other little things, if that makes sense. So it was a big, like seeing how moral humans are in firsthand. It was putting things into perspective of who we are and just like finding happiness in myself. And the third one is, si tienes miedo, hazlo con miedo. If you're afraid, do it with fear. So I'm a very anxious person, as most of you may know, but I still do it. I still go for it. And I'm not saying I'm not scared into what's coming next. And I think this also applied for study abroad when I was in Italy. I didn't want to go. I was packing. I didn't want to go. But I ended up going. I had a great plan. I had a great time. And also for my future plans, which I'll talk about. So I applied to 4 grad programs, as I mentioned, and 2 postbacks. I got an interview for 1 postback, and although it was very sad because of our administration, it got canceled, so I didn't even hear back. I got rejected from another postback, but that was fine because I already had another option secured, and I'm going to the University of Michigan to pursue a PhD in neuroscience. I got through the program in biomedical sciences. I never thought I could accomplish this, even less in just 4 years. It was crazy to me. I couldn't even dream about doing this in my life. So this is what my roommate over the summer is going to be my roommate for the next 5 years. And Andres, we also got very close during the summer. And this was Edith, Senator, and Catherine. When I found out, I didn't want to celebrate. I was very sad. I was in shock, and they celebrated for me. So thank you for celebrating for me when I didn't know how to. So that was it. Thank you so much for being here. To my mom, Miranda, my dad, to Fabian, to Christy, to my friends, my family here in San Antonio, the Magner program, hospital program, and everyone in this room and online. Y'all made me who I am today. So thank you so much.
I'll get us started. Gato, it's been so fantastic to work with you over the last 4 years, and I think the biggest thing is just like you grew into all the folks who were sitting on my side of the room knew you could be. And so that's one of the greatest joys for somebody who does my job, is to see the students reach that potential that we see early on. And I know it was so challenging when you first transitioned, because everything felt so different and new and foreign in all sorts of ways. So I want you to remember like that feeling, so that when you feel it again, when you get to Michigan, you know, I can conquer them. That makes sense. So I wish every student, especially our first and second year students, can see this presentation. Because it's so empowering, and I hope you really embrace that. One of the things that you said that just struck me enough that I wrote it down and said, I don't know how equipped, I didn't know how equipped I was, but I was. Like, and so that's a really powerful thing to say. I don't even know if you realize how powerful that is. So really great job. I have one question for you. If you were starting over again, what's the one thing that you wouldn't miss for anything in the world?
Like in what sense?
Like, what's the one thing that if you could only pick one of all the things that you did, what would it have been?
Probably period.
Yeah.
I think period. I really enjoyed talking to other people and talking about like giving awareness to a topic that's so important. And then not knowing anything about it, it just struck me that there's not enough information out there. So just being able to see a difference in period poverty and in the stigma was, I think, my biggest accomplishment.
I think that's also, it's very telling that you picked that, because as you were going through your presentation, that was also one of the things that you said was hard, like really hard, was when you became president.
Yeah.
So,
You're right. Thank you. Thank you, Kristen.
other stuff in you.
Thank you for being an exemplary scholar. It has been a joy seeing you blossom through our program and now successfully complete it. So best wishes, and keep in touch, because we want to hear what comes next.
Thank you.
Yes. Oh, I forgot my PSA.
Oh.
Alumni involvement is up to alumni.
Yeah.
So when you become an alumni, don't forget how much young Cotto would have appreciated talking to someone a year out from the program or 2 years out from the program. And so,
Thank you.
what about other folks talking? Dr. C is here, and Mr. Ball. Well, I have thoughts for,
Ms. Foster.
Felicidades. I just want to say congratulations. This was phenomenal presentation. Lucy Puedes, I know you have so much more to give to this world, and I'm so excited to see you through it. So congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
You got a lot. A lot. That's an understatement. But I think short about that your young age, you made some difficult decisions. You mentioned that you were so happy focused on school and career, strong point. And you recognize that personal development is also important. Life beyond the researcher and the student. And you paused. I'm sure that took a lot of courage and self-belief, because I'm sure there were people who were questioning whether you should slow down in some regards for you to really work on time. And so I'm most proud of you for that, because the people who are much older than me, who are still not being able to make those tough choices. Because people outside of themselves don't agree with that. So thank you for focusing on and for building. Because it's gonna make you stronger, it has made you stronger, and the world is coming.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
You know, I remember when we got here freshman year, and I was inviting you to this too.
We were together.
We were on the Zoom.
Chasing science one Friday at a time.
And we did like the how to make pancakes out. I remember we got here and in this program, and so it's kind of like a funnel system, like we're looking at the people in medicine, and we're like, wow, like literally, wow, I can't attain that. But it's from the bottom of my heart, like you've made it your own and you are there now. And so just to celebrate yourself every day, you know, when it's hard, because just like this, you know, you managed to fit it in this. But there's so much more besides this, and so getting to, you know, travel the world with you is fantastic, and all the like seeing you grow and be who you are now is like the greatest, like, you know, the greatest thing we've ever done.
Carol, you've been my Spanish tutor for the past 4 years. I thought I was fluent in Spanish until I met you. I got a ways to go, but you have been the best energy. Oh my gosh, I love being your roommate sophomore year, just waking up and, oh yeah. Just looking busted, you know, but we're inspiration at all times. And you do everything, so I think that I've seen you go through breakdowns, I've seen you go through like, oh, now I'm here and I'm there and I'm traveling abroad. And all the time, you just always come through stronger. And I love this Pilates phase that you're in right now. I want to be you, but it was an amazing presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
No, it was really hard. It's hard to come up with the words right now, and it was so really fun to like relive our time together, like do those pictures. And to like imagine you in like freshman year and see how far you've come. I really admire how like you really try to build yourself up, like, and you're very strong. And the journey you had. I'm sorry, I don't have the words, but thank you for letting me be your close friend. I've learned so much from you, and I'm very excited for what's next. And I know you'll be okay. And very.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.